I had a lot of depression issues growing up through high school and then into college.
Well, I've been dealing with depression since my senior year of high school.
Where I was a very dark place, and I felt like I was in a hole and I couldn't get out.
Mine came really bad when my ex-girlfriend left me.
I was dealing with depression, and I made the decision to withdraw from the college.
One thing triggers this feeling of, you're worthless.
I just think, why am I here? And it's more of thoughts like that, like maybe it would just be better if I just wasn't here.
I was suicidal for a good many years. I came very close at various points.
I attempted suicide twice. I honestly felt like I was never going to get better.
My mom's from Connecticut. My dad is from Puerto Rico. I don't know if it's their culture or just they're from a different generation, and I was afraid of them not really understanding what was going on and thinking I was like going crazy, not seeing it as like a normal thing. And I was dating this guy, and he's very manipulative, and he kept me isolated a lot. Sometimes I'd be a little anxious, crying and not knowing why I was crying, and it was getting worse and worse until the point where I was not going to classes and terrified to leave my room.
Now, people can be depressed for different things, but the way I went through it, you spend like this much amount of time in school, doing schoolwork, and you spend, as an athlete, you spend this much amount of time preparing for games, and then when you try to throw in extra things like work, like a relationship, and those things don't turn out, something's got to give.
There was one semester where I went to my first classes and I didn't go back till about midterms. I slept all through the day. I stayed up till like daylight, 6 a.m., went to bed, and then would wake up anywhere from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
I'd been withdrawing a lot more from my friends, which is a classic sign for me that something's going wrong.
It got to the point where I was crying a lot, I couldn't sleep, and then I couldn't eat. Everyone around me were worried.
I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I got really unmotivated over the years to do things that I loved, like art, like taking pictures, like drawing, like spending time with my family. I would never go visit them. Became very much of a loner.
You don't want to do anything. Like, I didn't go to class. I missed like so many classes. I was failing out of college. I didn't care about sports. I didn't even care about myself.
My parents were being so loving and like taking care of me and dutiful, but I just couldn't feel anything for them. And I would get, irritated really easily, but I just didn't feel like human at all.
When I had problems with girlfriends or when I had breakups, I would have like kind of just run around and just feel bad and do some things that I regret. I guess I was drinking more than I probably should have been. I think you have to realize when you're doing it as a social thing and when you're doing it just to make yourself kind of forget or feel better about things.
I started drinking heavily at work, in class, not going to class, and I would get hives all over my body when I didn't want to talk about something. So that was just like the physical symptoms of it. Never mind, like, I started smoking cigarettes. I was up to 2 packs a day.
I was definitely out of control just because I was giving in to that, desire to not feel those negative feelings and do whatever it took to get away from them.
In freshman year, I had 2 roommates, one of whom I'm still very good friends with. She was very non-judgmental of anything I had to say and encouraged me to open up and seek any help that I needed to.
I talked to my friends about what's going on with me. Even if they didn't know what to say, they listened and they encouraged me to feel like I could talk to them about those things.
I was talking to my friend, crying, telling her how I'm feeling really sad and really nervous and anxious. And then she suggested that I go talk to a counselor to get some advice and another perspective. It's important to share your feelings simply because you may realize that another person is in a similar situation that you are in.
I would encourage them to, say, if you want to talk, I'm here to listen. We can talk for 5 minutes, we can talk for 3 hours.
Maybe try and, go through the phone book with them and then make calls with them, make an appointment while I'm there and make it easier for them so that they're not alone.
Just be a good listening ear and not try to solve their problems, that you can leave that up to the professionals.
Not, saying that the person is doing bad things, but going into it and saying, I see that you're struggling and you're not happy.
Hey man, aren't you supposed to be in class? You alright, man?
Yeah, why?
I don't know, it's just you haven't been to class in a while. And you won't come out with us. You've just been spending all your time in here.
What's
alone.
your point?
It's just, from what I'm seeing, you seem to be having a hard time lately. I just want you to know, if you need to talk to somebody, I'm right here.
Look, I have nothing to say. I'm done.
Look, I'm worried about you, man. If you can't talk to me or another friend, maybe you could try talking to a counselor.
I don't know.
I'll help you out in any way I can. But just think about talking to somebody. All right.
Don't tell them that they should be reacting to a situation in a different way. Just try and understand and empathize where they're coming from.
The way I would look at it is I think everybody can benefit from stopping and reflecting on their life and saying, am I really happy? Are there changes that I could make or that I need to make to be happier? And sitting down with somebody is really important to make that happen.
As long as someone I felt was genuine and was trying to help me, and I'm listening, I'm taking it. I'm taking that help.
I think you have to tell someone, and if it's crisis point, you need to say, look, this is what we're doing and this is why.
When my mom called the dean, I was mad at her. I was really mad at her, but then I understood why she did it, and I was actually, not that I was happy, but I understood. If you really care about that person, you need to intervene, and whether or not they like it, you gotta get, higher help, have some type of intervention, because you don't want to see someone you care about gone.
I think there's a lot of stigma out there regarding mental illness, especially having thoughts of harming yourself. It's okay to go if you have a heart condition or a medical diagnosis, but if you have something that's happening within your brain, people think it's wrong, it's your fault, you're weak.
Maybe it's because people think they're not real because you can't see them.
People are afraid that they'll be labeled as crazy or that they'll become a burden on their friends and family.
The counselor, the school psychologist, her office is upstairs, so you have to actually go through some students that do work study in the nurse's office, and just going in there and telling them, I need to see the school counselor. It brought tears to my eyes because I just couldn't take it anymore, because it's that's embarrassing right there.
I didn't want to consider myself a weak person, but then at the same time I thought, I'm wanting to kill myself. I want my life to end. How is that being a strong person?
I decided to get help because I saw all this joy and these people, and I wanted to be a part of it.
I decided that it was time to get help because You know, I was trying to do whatever I could have done to keep myself sane. And I just needed another person's advice.
I think some of the fears or misconceptions that people have about counseling have to do with just what happens in that office, what goes on, that lack of understanding. Sometimes they think that we're going to try to uncover deep, buried, dark secrets, that they're going to learn something about themselves that they didn't know that will be terribly devastating. That actually very rarely happens in counseling. Good counseling is rolling up your sleeves, having a conversation about what's going on right now in your life, what you want to be different, what you care about.
Many times they think you're going to be hospitalized, you're going to be medicated, and they don't understand that they can come there just to speak freely with a counselor.
Well, the most important things that we can do to students is let them know we care. And we will be there for them, no matter how hard it gets.
When I found the right counselor, it was great. And when you do, you feel like, you know, you're talking to a brother or a sister or a best friend, somebody that really knows you.
What helped when I went through counseling was just being able to talk to someone.
If you feel uncomfortable with the person, even if it's just like an instinctual thing, they're probably not the best therapist for you, just because you might have difficulty opening up to them and telling them everything.
I felt like she really understood me, like she got me. And I had never felt gotten before. I felt like I was always the oddball. And she made it seem okay to have issues and to get help for those issues.
It sounds corny, but it completely changed my life. I no longer feel suicidal.
I started with, you know, simple things like going to bed in a reasonable hour around the same time every night. I didn't feel good about myself, so I started making changes that made me feel better about myself. So I started exercising.
I got a tape and I did 15 minutes of exercise in the morning, and my day was phenomenally better.
I like biking because I can clear my head and just bike and go off somewhere. And it gives me a place where I can just like not think so much and just ride my bike.
I started doing art again, which is something that I lost when I was depressed. I think it's really important that you find people to connect with.
You have to find people that will push you in the right direction rather than take you down with them.
My friends served as a protective factor for me. I was able to open up to them.
Your friends are your friends. You know, if they're good friends, they're true friends, they're going to talk to you, they're going to help you out. Because I personally feel like anyone can get through anything as long as they have someone they believe in.
If you start making behavioral changes, you will have, you know, positive psychological changes that accompany those.
I'm not saying every day is easier with medication and therapy, but it definitely makes it easier to deal with depression.
I took pieces away from different parts of my treatment and was able to take those tools away from each treatment place and build this whole ability to cope healthfully.
When I made the commitment to, you know, work with someone and, you know, really confront the issues that I was having head on, and I made, you know, some initial progress, it was unbelievable. It was like a new world. It was like possibilities that I could never have imagined.
It's okay to talk to somebody. You're not weak, you're not a bad person. You're just unique and you have needs like everybody else does. So go out there and find your place in the world.
Well, you have suffered enough and warred with yourself. It's time that you won.
I was in the same seat that these people are in, saying, no, not me, yeah, this doesn't apply. But, you know, I'm here, I'm real.
People are out there who really want to help, and they can.
It just makes me so happy to have the people that I have around me that were so caring and supportive when I needed them.
It's never too late to get help. Take control of your life.
It changes you. It makes you who you are. And then being in that state, you become a new person.
Raise your hopeful voice. You have a choice. You've made it
that's my option.
As long as you're honest with yourself, you'll get through it, I promise.
If you can just go with what's positive in your life, even if it's tough, then good things will come out of it.
I'm happy. That's the critical difference.
I think it's important that everyone know that there is hope.
I don't have to go back to those sad, darker days. It's work, you know? I'm determined to feel better, and so don't give up.